Kitutu Chache South Constituency, Kisii County. And I'll ask Honorable Donya Doris to welcome the schools on our behalf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That is my school. I schooled there in class 2 and class 3, St. Mary's Nyabururu, but I can't say the year because you might suspect how old I am. Madam Speaker, as parents and of course members of parliament, we must have nice things to tell our girls. It's only that, oh, you girls, you should be smiling because I schooled in your school. Work hard, it has been the norm. Be humble, be kind, polite as your mama county. I have never even slaughtered a chicken, Madam Speaker. Education is what no one will ever take away from you. They can take your land, they take everything. Our children, I can also pass over the message to our girls, but something that no one will ever take away from you is your education. Value your education, respect your teachers, and you have to be good girls, not a bad girl like Honorable Millie Odhiambo. Very, 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 because she has confirmed that. She has told me, Donya, tell them they must be good girls like you, Honorable Donya, and not bad girls like Honorable Millie. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Tigania West, Honorable
of the Republic of Kenya, the late Ngugi wa Thiong'o, and may his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you very much.
Millie Odhiambo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on my behalf and on behalf of the people of Suba North, we bring our message of condolences to the family of Ngugi wa Thiong'o and even to Kenya as a whole, because this is a loss to Kenya as a country. Mr. Speaker, when I was a young girl, I used to work at my uncle's bookshop. And even though I was very young, I would still struggle to read the difficult English. So just like you, I think I probably read all of them, even though I didn't understand many of them. But Mr. Speaker, one of the things that stood out for me is that I want to comment about is the River Between. And Mr. Speaker, you look at the River Between, you look at the influence of the British colonization through the eyes of Muthoni. Mr. Speaker, I want to specifically single out the way he dealt with the issue of feminism. Majority of the characters in that book are women that he exalts, and he shows them as fighting tyranny and exploitation. Mr. Speaker, he sees women as victims of African society and patriarchal system. And to liberate themselves, they endeavored to shatter the patriarchal obstacles and bring about change. Mr. Speaker, I would want to say that he was way ahead of time. There are some of the issues that we are now talking about and we are giving name to, for instance, intersectionality. But he already dealt with issues that converge and bring women down, like the intersectionality of gender, race, and even ethnicity. And so, with those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for giving me this
Member for Limuru.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me a chance to eulogize one of our own, Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o. As I stand, Honorable Speaker, I speak of a man who I knew for the longest time in my life. I witnessed him writing the books, some of them that people have mentioned, but I have also witnessed a journey for him when he was being persecuted. I was there delivering a book written by Steve Biko to him in detention. I was at the University of Nairobi when we were told to remove all his books after detention, and I saw him off the first time he led out of this country. But Honorable Speaker, this is one person who was very good for the rest of the world, but it looks like there was a plan to make sure that Ngugi will never have a peace in his own country. We know that he was denied to teach at the University of Nairobi. He was not allowed to go back to Kameredo to continue with his theater works. And above all, the system that didn't want him to be in Nairobi, didn't want him to be in Kenya, continued to persecute even the family to a point where Ngugi had to part a lot with the rest of the family. And as we now said, say goodbye to him, Honorable Speaker, my prayer is that the children of Ngugi will have peace, can come back to this country and contribute. And for all of us to make sure that Ngugi will not be forgotten for what he did to this country. May his soul.
Julia Sunguli.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to join everybody else in eulogizing Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o. He was definitely a literary giant in the 70s, and that is why a UK newspaper said about him when he was about 33 years that he is accepted as one of Africa's outstanding contemporary writers. His best books, Mr. Speaker, were the books that he wrote under the name of James Ngugi. The book of The River Between, A Grain of Wheat, and Weep Not Child. That is actually why the 70s would remember Ngugi. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, something happened to Ngugi later on. When the world was embracing him, he seems to have retreated from the world. First, he retreated from Christianity. He changed his name, James. He returned his baptismal card and retreated away from Christianity. Then, Mr. Speaker, he retreated from the English language, the one that had made him a giant, and started writing in Kikuyu and having characters only within the Kikuyu language and Kikuyu culture. That actually is perhaps one of the reasons why the people who went to school after the 70s do not remember Ngugi as much as you and I do. Mr. Speaker, he withdrew, of course, when he was detained by Jomo Kenyatta, he must have suffered a lot. President Moi released him as soon as he became president, and he immigrated into the West. But this does not take away from the fact that, Mr. Speaker, at one time, Ngugi was a prolific writer, an artist, a novelist we shall always remember, and we shall place his name in the records of history. I thank you.
Yes, Honorable Bayer.
Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you and wish to eulogize Ngugi wa Thiong'o. You know, Honorable Speaker, I'm a student of literature and having taught literature at different levels. But Honorable Speaker, I want to say that the late Ngugi wa Thiong'o will remember him for the African Writers Series as a pioneer of that book, that level of books, where many Africans got an opportunity not just to write, but to write and publish, where the African Writers Series was published then as one of the biggest publishing houses, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, secondly, I remember Ngugi wa Thiong'o for his book, Decolonizing the Mind, one of the greatest works of literature that he ever wrote. It is a series of papers that he put together, Honorable Speaker, and it is in Decolonizing the Mind, Honorable Speaker, that we find Ngugi in his true sense. Honorable Speaker, one of his great books that people never talk about is The Devil on the Cross. The Devil on the Cross was one of Ngugi's greatest book. Actually, it is The Devil on the Cross that runs crosshairs with Daniel Arap Moi then when he was president, Honorable Speaker. Although Devil on the Cross is one of the greatest satires that Ngugi wa Thiong'o has ever written, A book that when you read, you get the revolutionary spirit in the writer. You get Ngugi wa Thiong'o, the person who fights for justice, who fights for land rights, a writer who stood up for the common mwananchi in this country. Ngugi wa Thiong'o will go down in history as one of the liberators of Africa, and that is why he could not agree with many presidents, and that's why he could not find space in Africa and chose to live in the United States. Honorable Speaker, we have lost a great man, a literary giant, somebody that was respected, not just in the continent of Africa, but in Europe and above and beyond, Honorable Speaker. I thank you, and may God...
The Honorable Irene Mayaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to pay tribute to a very distinguished son of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, as had been said before, Ngugi wa Thiong'o was initially called James Thiong'o, and he decided to change his name and drop the English name so that he pays tribute to being an African. But Honorable Speaker, one of the things that I remember about Ngugi wa Thiong'o was a famous quote from one of his books that he used to say, "To speak one's language is to celebrate one's identity." And he also said, "But to impose a language is a way to divide people, and it is a practice of tribalism of another kind." And therefore, Honorable Speaker, the Ngugi wa Thiong'o was one of the very famous Kenyans who really spoke against tribalism. But the other thing, Honorable Speaker, that we also celebrate Ngugi wa Thiong'o for is in terms of receiving honors, he is one of the most decorated writers in Africa. He received a total of 38 documented awards, one of them being the UNESCO Award for Weep Not Child. But also between the year 2006 and 2007, through one of his books, The Wizard of Oz, Ngugi wa Thiong'o received a total of 6 international awards. That was really something that was exceptional. And Honorable Speaker, the same way that we normally say that we are going to benchmark with other people on the good practices and the good things that we do in Kenya, Ngugi wa Thiong'o is one of those people that we also really know that the rest of the world would want to also emulate and be like him. And I just want to tell especially the people who are here and the people who are listening to us who love soccer that a team like Arsenal should now emulate Ngugi wa Thiong'o in terms of doing
the Honorable Member for Seme, Honorable